Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis with another 40k stories video. This is a sort of spin-off from my 40k stories about Ghazghkull, and because in that video I had to gloss over a lot of the events from the second and third War of Armageddon and some of the events in between, I'm going to cover a few of them in more detail in future 40k stories. And this is one such video. This is going to tell the story of Helsreach Hive. Mostly from the perspective of the Black Templars Chaplain, or Reclusiarch, Grimaldus. Now, a little bit of background for the background. The Black Templars are a Crusader chapter, and so they put a lot of faith in their chaplains. They have no librarians as such. Actually, they have no librarians at all. And their High Chaplain, sort of their boss of chaplains, is known as the Reclusiarch. And the former High Chaplain, the former Reclusiarch, was known as Mordred, and he was killed by Chaos Space Marines or something along those lines in a recent conflict. And Grimaldus was selected by Mordred just before he died, because I think they managed to extract him and then get the decision out of him. He chose Grimaldus to be his successor, because Grimaldus had been Mordred's protege, and he had shown a lot of zeal, a lot of faith, everything that a chaplain and a Black Templar's chaplain should exemplify. Grimaldus didn't feel he was the right man for the job, but he took it anyway. And he was elected, and I'm not sure what the word is, not crowned, but anointed as the Reclusiarch by High Marshal Helbrecht, who gave him a thwack around the head and said, "Let that be the last blow you receive without response." Basically, don't let anybody hit you now. You can hit them back. So Grimaldus was raised to Reclusiarch, and their first mission, or his first mission as Reclusiarch, was to lead the Armageddon Crusade for Armageddon 3. And High Marshal Helbrecht established the Space Cordon and led the Imperial fleet in the defence as best he could. Grimaldus and around 100 Black Templars, so about a company's worth, if the Black Templars worked in companies, were dispatched to Helsreach Hive and Armageddon. The Emperor's champion was anointed from their ranks. I cannot remember his name for the life of me. He is just to the right of the camera shot, because the main picture is Grimaldus and the Emperor's champion is just to the right. I don't want to mess with the camera because it may just knock everything out. So they were dispatched to Helsreach, and Grimaldus' first responsibility, realistically, was to go and meet with the other Imperial commanders, including, of course, Commissar Yarrick. And they had a long strategy meeting, and Grimaldus is not a strategist. He is a warrior at heart. He doesn't deal well with other people. And so Yarrick and the others end up antagonizing each other, and it doesn't end well. However, Yarrick gets his point across pretty well that Helsreach is one of the main targets, and that Hades Hive must be evacuated of all troops, which it was, thankfully, because Hades Hive was then obliterated from orbit by Ghazghkull's ships, as I explained in my last video in this series. And so after this point, the Orcs make planetfall, and Grimaldus and the Imperial Guard Steel Legion, based in Helsreach, have to coordinate the defence, because at this point, pretty much the Hives are on their own. The first few waves are repelled by fighter bombers and by Black Templars and Guardsmen on the battlements all around Helsreach, because large battlements and walls around all the cities are in place, and so it's a pretty good shooting match. However, the piles get so high of dead at the bottom of the wall that it almost becomes a giant ladder mechanism for the Orcs, to the point where a few of them breach. But it's nothing that the Imperial Guard and Black Templars between them cannot handle. Grimaldus, between his Crozius and his plasma pistol, account for many, many Orcs. And so the first wave actually holds. It doesn't end that badly. And this happens a couple of times. Imperial Guard teams are dispatched to burn the piles at the bottom of the hive to make it harder for the Orcs to ascend the next time, which makes sense. And this goes on for a while. Eventually the Orcs, though, do breach the walls. The other main engagement involving Grimaldus came at the docks. The Helsreach and Tempestora docks were both attacked by submersibles that have been teleported down by rocks landing in the Deadlands, as I mentioned in my last video. And this became a very big problem because it now gave the Orcs a second way to attack the Hive. And the main defense was called upon between the Imperial Guard, the Black Templars, and a detachment of Salamanders. I believe they were under the command of Chapter Master Tu Shan, though I do not believe he was present at this engagement. And they do eventually win the engagement in a way, and the problem being that the Salamanders and the Black Templars have very different attack policies. The Salamanders is hold ground, and when they're running, just keep cutting them down, no need to go anywhere. The Black Templars policy is, we've got them on the run, let's get them. To the point where Grimaldus is leading the Black Templars forward in a charge against the war boss, who is now falling back. And the Salamanders, if they had advanced, in Grimaldus' opinion, they would have been able to catch the Warlord, cut him down, and break the back of that attack. This did not happen. The Salamanders held their ground, content to hold their position. And it cost the Black Templars more than a couple of their number. I think 5 or 6 were killed in having to become surrounded by Orcs, having been separated from the Salamanders. And Grimaldus was really not happy. He really went off on one at the Salamander's commander, whoever it was, and it did not end well. So the dockyards of Helsreach were eventually captured by the Orcs, and some Grimaldus may say this is because they didn't kill the Warlord when they had the chance. That's a matter of opinion, and I'm sure that it will be a heated debate eventually. So things are starting to go really wrong, but one thing has been going on in the background for the Black Templars. Their Tech Marine has been away from Helsreach. He's been out in the desert somewhere, and he has been trying to awaken one of the ancient STCs present in Armageddon. I cannot remember its name, so I'm just going to go and find it. And it is, in essence, a whacking great cannon. And if I just look on the map, which I've got in front of me, it's called D16 West, is where he is based. And the weapon, if I can just find it, is... I don't know where it's gone now. I thought I had it. And the Tech Marine spends absolutely ages just trying to get this massive war machine online. And he spends absolutely ages doing it. And to be fair, he can't get the whole war machine online. He just about manages to wake the machine spirits and get the machine spirits to behave just enough for the gun to get one shot. That's all he's going to get. And that's all he needs, because one shot will do a lot of damage. Here it is. Oberon. Oberon is the name of the weapon. And he wakes the machine spirits of this Oberon, and he gets one shot. That's all he's going to get. And he's got one target. So, accompanied by the remnants of a Titan Legion, who have been falling out of Helsreach to regroup in the Ash Waste, he sort of overrules them. There's a lot of story about the various Titans. Storm Herald, the Imperator, and a couple of Reavers were also mentioned, but that's something I'll just follow on. And Oberon and the Tech Marine, I believe his name was Dankred, overrule the Princeps and say, I need some help, I need to do this, because in Helsreach there is Godbreaker, as it is known, and Godbreaker is a gargant. But this is no ordinary gargant. An ordinary gargant could be blown up by an Imperator Titan, no problem, but pretty easily. This one towers over the Imperator Titan. It's armed to the teeth, it is utterly brutal, and there is nothing realistically in the Imperium's defences on Helsreach that can stop it. The only weapon they have realistically is Oberon. And so Storm Herald, the Imperator, is destroyed, well, sort of destroyed. They're able to put it back together later. But it plays a distractionary role to the point where the Tech Marine is able to get a clean shot, is one shot, and he takes it and he rips the gargant apart. Actually, I'm wrong. Actually, Storm Herald was destroyed earlier on by Godbreaker. A Reaver plays bait, is then destroyed, breaks Hell's Highway in half by collapsing when it gets destroyed, and this opens up the shot for the Tech Marine, who takes it and destroys the Gargant. He then reports this to Grimaldus and leaves, because that was the deal. You get me in, and then I'll let you take me out. So he's now gone to fall back and regroup with the other Mechanicus forces. So Helsreach is pretty much on its own now. It's on its last legs. The Orcs have overrun it, and the coordinated fallbacks of the Imperial Guardsmen has gone relatively well. They've got a few bastions left. And one such bastion is the Temple of the Emperor Ascendant. I could have that wrong. It could be I think it's the Cathedral of the Emperor Ascendant. And this is obviously a cathedral, a church, a shrine to the Emperor, garrisoned by Sisters of Battle. And it is the Black Templars' last stand. And between them, they hold this defence and they fight against the Orcs and just fall back as they go, to the point where Grimaldus is basically lost in his battle frenzy, just killing everything, and then all of that just snaps. Because he hears the Canoness, who is the commander of the Sisters, saying, "Hold your line, don't fall back, don't let them in." He's at the cathedral gate, and now he realises they've lost. But he keeps killing, and he keeps fighting, until he is pretty much the last man standing. And, well, he's the last Black Templar standing. The Apothecary is killed, the Standard Bearer is killed, the Emperor's Champion is killed, or the second Emperor's Champion is killed, because one was killed earlier. And at this point, Grimaldus issues one of the most memorable war cries of Space Marines. "I have dug my grave in this place, and it is here that I will die." He's resigned to death, but he's resigned to take as many with them as he can. And he will do this, and he's still killing. To the point where the cathedral falls down. Because of the fighting has been so brutal that the cathedral falls down before they can kill Grimaldus. It buries everybody. Grimaldus, Orcs, Guardsmen, Sisters, Templars, everybody just buried. Most are killed. And the epilogue is from Grimaldus' perspective on the Apothecary table. And he should be dead. By all rights, he's been crushed by a cathedral falling on top of him. He should be dead. But he's not. He's basically crawled his way out. Not fought his way out, but sort of broke his way out of there. And he seems to have collected some relics as he's gone. I can't remember what they are. I think one was a Aquila, one was... they're the 3 Cenobite servitors on Grimaldus' model, so if anyone goes to look them up, that's what it is. And Grimaldus recovers these relics, and they get out. They get back to the Black Templar command, and he's then talking with Helbrecht, because there's a huge celebration, because at this point the season of fire has come, the Orcs have had to retreat and been anything inside the hives has been cleansed by the remaining Steel Legion. It's a moral victory in a way for the Imperium, and Grimaldus is a hero, because not only did he put up such a spirited defence and inspire the men around him, but he also recovered the relics, which are as old as Armageddon itself. They were brought by the first colonists to Armageddon. That's where this temple, this cathedral, came from. And these relics are as old as that. And so he is a hero, and he decides, against Helbrecht and everybody's advice, to return the relics to Armageddon, to the Helsreachers, and he gives them back as sort of a testament to what they can do. And that was the main battle of Helsreach Hive, from the opening engagements to the battles at the docks, and then to Grimaldus' fall, and then his somehow seeming resurrection. There were other places where the lines did actually hold. There were no incidents of collapsing cathedrals anywhere else, as far as I'm aware. But that's the main story. That's just following it from the Black Templars' perspective. I don't know all the perspectives, because I've only got one real book and the Orc Codex to use as my reference points, I'm afraid. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to leave any comments below or on Twitter at Tactical Imperial. And that's about it, really. My name is Michael, and I will see you again.